right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nicole Perez.
I'm Louis Aguirre in for Calvin. Here's a look at the stories making news on this Friday.
Battery charges have now been filed against the deputy seen beating a suspect handcuffed to a hospital bed. That man, David O'Connell, has been arrested for a disturbance at a Walmart in Pompano Beach back in January. He was taken to Broward Health North to be treated for injuries. The video shows him screaming that he didn't want to be there. Deputy George Sobrino tries to calm him down, but is then seen punching him in the face and twisting his arm. If convicted, Deputy Sobrino faces up to a year in prison.
A brush fire creating this ominous sight for drivers in southwest Miami-Dade. It was burning along 124th Street and 134th Avenue, right by a shopping center. At one point, the flames jumped into the parking lot, setting 2 cars on fire. No one was hurt, but businesses in the area were evacuated as a precaution. We're told the fire is now under control, but crews are still monitoring it for hot spots.
New disturbing details in the case of a Miramar teen drugged and raped at her own party. Her alleged attacker, 18-year-old George Martinez, apparently tried getting the 15-year-old girl into a room at her Miramar home earlier that night, but was stopped by some of her friends. Police say he later gave her oxycodone and sexually assaulted her, then bragged about it on a video he posted online. That victim spent nearly half an hour without oxygen to her brain and is now in a coma. Martinez is being held on more than $500,000 bond.
Listen to Local 10's podcast, The Florida Files, wherever you are, whenever you want. Just say, Alexa, play the Florida Files podcast.
Getting the latest episode of Florida Files. Here it is from TuneIn.
Previously on the Florida Files.
Or just ask Siri, I want to hear the latest Florida Files podcast.
Here's the newest episode of the Florida Files.
Get the Florida Files on Alexa, Google Home, or Apple devices just by saying play the Florida Files podcast. The Florida Files from the one and only Local 10.
A homeowner menaced with a gun, and those terrifying moments were caught on doorbell surveillance video. You can see 2 men hold the victim at gunpoint as they try to open the front door of his house in Homestead. They struggle, but police say they eventually managed to break in and steal money. Mind you, this all happened while 2 children were sleeping inside.
As breaking news happens, we have you covered on air and online.
Head to local10.com for more local news coverage and updates. Have a good night.